session 2, which emphasizes on the integration of BIM in construction education. The speaker of the session is Dr. Amarnath CB. Hello, sir. Dr. Amarnath CB, who is serving as a head for BIM strategy at Larsen and Toubro currently, over the course of his career, he had held positions in India, Taiwan, Spain, Italy, and UK. He is playing an active role at several digital in India, Built India initiatives and is the founding president of the National BIM Society, India Building Information Modeling Association, that focuses on digital transformation of the Indian AECO sector. He is the chairman of BIM at the Governing Council of Forum of Critical Utility Services. He is also serving as a principal member at Construction Management Sectional Committee CEB 29, Bureau of Indian Standards. He also serves as National Secretary at Forum for Human Rights and Anti-Corruption. His Academia Connect as guest faculty and industry guide for research in BIM and digital strategy is with IIT Delhi, Madras and Mandi, NIT Trichy and Suratkar, CEPT University, Symbiosis Institute of University, SPA Delhi and Bhopal, RICS, etc. He holds PhD in establishing organization BIM strategies from National Taiwan University with 1 year exchange at Imperial College London. He supports as strategic advisor for national councils and forums for enabling digital transformation in Indian AE sector. And he's also coordinating with IGBC, TERI, BIS, IIA, COA, MHRD, MOUD, etc. We are really honored to have you, sir, on board with us. I request you to please begin with your session.
Yeah, thank you, and also for the audience. I think we do have architects and other engineers also in the session, or is it only for architects in the session? How is it?
It is like majority of the participants are from the architecture domain, a very few from the construction domain.
Okay. Well, good morning to everyone. I think it's the second session, and let me not bore you with too much of contents, and I will have a little bit discussion on how BIM education makes a difference in the curriculum. Followed by, we'll have more of a discussion session rather than always sharing the slide and me speaking. I would like to more have a discussion, so I will keep presentation as short as possible, and we'll have further interactions. So today I'm going to discuss on integration of BIM in construction education, which is a topic of importance now at this point of time, where the global market in terms of the client expectations and the service providers capabilities and the skilled professionals which are required for delivering these requirements are changing day by day. One side, the global clients are asking for something new things, which is very much aligned with Industry 4.2. The local clients are also maturing, and the service providers, it may be from a design or a contractor or a sub or a PMCs or even the operation maintenance team in the construction sector, are changing their way of working, and digital transformation journey is happening. In this situation, the education, what we are imparting for our young generation has to take into these considerations on how do we align the skills and competencies of these professionals who are from architecture, engineering, construction, operation backgrounds, maybe from architecture, civil, mechanical, electrical, construction management, business management, and a few other departments which are related to the AEC projects, which may be buildings, infrastructures, and cities, right? So how do we align our education to Industry 4.0 requirements? Today we are in a digital era, and COVID has helped us a lot, to transform the way we work, the way we educate, and the way we think. So things are changing, and people also started accepting it much faster than before pre-COVID. So looking into this situation, let us look into what kind of education will really help our candidates to look into the global and the local companies for the jobs, or even looking for a startups or for a higher education. Because at the end, when we are speaking about our young generation student, the most important thing is the directioning for them. It's not about spoon feeding, which if they get to know the direction, obviously they are much ahead of us as a faculty to learn things and go quicker. And with this situation, with our country being the country which has the biggest young population than any other country in the world, this we have to rethink. We have the young generation, which is a very big population than any other country, and education becomes a priority here. And down the line, in another 1 or 2 decades, it will be most of our Indians and Chinese ruling around most of the countries. So looking into these situations, we have to get into a line for the kind of trends in terms of skill requirements. So today, the topic is on BIM, because when I say about Industry 4.0, in terms of the construction sector, the BIM becomes one of the important topic, because these days, if you see the client mandates, some of the Indian clients, I would say airport authorities, metro projects, whatever is happening, and high-speed train, some of the healthcare projects, and commercial and residential buildings, water treatments, power transmissions, these kind of things are not coming with BIM. But when you say about cities, people are saying smart cities. Again, it's about data drive and data management. So many of the clients have started expecting BIM in their projects. I'm speaking only about the public clients. When you look into the private clients, the local and global, there's a kind of requirements, and because it's all about data management. BIM for me, it's nothing more than the data management across the life cycle of the project, and you have multiple parties coming across the life cycle, right? So when I say when you see the screen, these stages, stage 1 to 7, what I have taken in this screen is from the Royal Institute of British Architects guideline, and this is from the 2020 plan of work. And most of the time for BIM adoptions, people follow this RIBA plan of work. So I've just taken those life cycle stages. So just to give you some information, stage 1 is where the client and consultants have a discussion and come to some understanding on what is the way forward for the project. Concept design, concept definition and design phases are where the architectural and other structural and MEP team have their work to develop the BIM model, which can be utilized for further activities. Stage 5 and 6 is where contractors and subcontractors pitch in to use the BIM model for site activities. It may be for a time, cost, safety, quality, logistics, procurement, planning, all these activities. And then comes the stage 7, where the maintenance team to deliver the operation maintenance of the facility. When you look into the overall stages, stage 1 is very critical, because you're planning what has to be done and what kind of companies to be bought in, what should be the kind of execution plans and everything. And then 2 to 3 to 4 is more of developing the complete design, which is very much workable for the actual construction. 5 and 6 is where the real work happen, what has been dreamed in 2, 3, 4 stages of the architects and engineers dream, that has to be brought onto the site with a similar replica. It cannot deviate much from what has been planned. So stage 5 and 6 has a lot to do with that model usage. And stage 7, 1 to 6 stages is somewhere like you have probably 2 to 5 years to 6 years project. But stage 7, which is going to happen for another 5 to 6 to more decades, it's about maybe 50 to 50 years plus. So here the data becomes very critical. If I have not properly managed the data from stage 1 to 6, and you are handing over in bits and pieces to the clients of the data, then it becomes a challenging for the operation maintenance team to, over the cycle of their project span, to maintain the data and use the facilities properly. So that's where the data management becomes critical. And you can see there are multiple parties coming in. It may be for any type of projects. It may be buildings or infra or smart cities or anything within these journey. BIM is playing a major role in the global market. Looking into this, the top slide, you can see three important items. One is a graphical data. When I say BIM, what is that? It's a model and it's a virtual. You can open that in a computer, you can open in an iPad, you can open in a mobile. It's a virtual model of what you are going to build during design, and during construction what is getting built, and during handover it is you have to update the changes on site whatever the changes has been happened on the site, that will be updated to the BIM model. Then it becomes an updated BIM model for handover. We call it as a digital twin. And during maintenance, the same model again used for linking with your IoT devices, smart facility management, FM systems, and so on. So how detailed you can see that graphics, that is a graphical information. For example, the model has a door. Can I see the texture? Can I feel the material? Can I see the parameters? How detailed do I have in that model objects? So that is a graphical information. Non-graphical is something like the parameters. For example, if I take a door, what is the kind of length, width, thickness, material, and what is the installation dates, what is the lifespan, what is the warranty, XYZ things. That is a parameters which you have to add in the objects. Documentation is something you have some warranty for that door, for example. So that documentation is attached to the door virtual object in the model. So I'm just giving one example of one object, but looking into projects, it may be for a small SME or for a mega scale, you have multiple objects coming in a model. So you can understand how rich the data would be in the model. And who is going to give the data? That the BIM model automatically doesn't come. It's about the people involved in stage 1 to 7. Are the people updating the model with the changes? During the planning, I give a basic information. That's why it's called preparation brief planning model. Then comes a conceptual design where you have a planning model further looking into the massing, orientation, phasing, and all these kind of things. Stage 3 and 4, it's more of developing a architecture, structural, MEP, and other civil interior works. This kind of model in detail with LOD 300 to 350. Then you're giving to the site, to use it for site activities for time, cost, and other things. So then the maintenance. So a lot of data keeps on maturing. That's why you can see in the above figure. From the stage 1, the data in terms of graphics, non-graphics, and documents are increasing and maturing. And it has to be properly managed and maintained on the BIM model. And that's where we all say that it should be on a common data environment and everyone should be able to access the model and the data. And again, you can fix who can access what data. So it's all about how you manage the data across the life cycle of the project. And now today, in our current traditional approach, many people have a misunderstanding that BIM is a software. Well, BIM is all about how you manage the data in the project. And for that, you are using multiple software solutions. For some people may use the BIM software for planning. There is some software for developing the model. Some softwares are for time planning, cost planning, quality control, safety planning, construction logistic planning, and then developing the digital twin, maintaining the model on a common data environment. There is softwares for different types of analysis like structural analysis, wind analysis, earthquake analysis, lighting analysis, and you have other softwares for facility management, demolition planning, recycling, green building alignments. So, well, if I want to implement BIM in a life cycle and see the return on investment, I may need to go with at least 15 plus software solutions. And now looking into the software vendors, you have multiple of them like Autodesk, Bentley, Trimble, Dassault, Economus, Onuma Systems, Bexel, Acker, Invicara. They're like 30 plus BIM solution providers, which I know. And there are many localites, like within India, there may be some software development companies. Within other countries, there are some set of software development companies. So, well, it's not about limiting ourselves to the software. At the end, what is the requirement? Are you bringing people together? And are you bringing the data together? And are you making the life easy with this data and people coming together? And is everyone able to visualize things better? And is there a transparency in the project? And is there a clarity in the project? Are you able to avoid the rework? Are you able to take the return on investment in the project in terms of time and cost and other things? Are you able to automate the projects? Are you able to do the prefabrication? Are you able to take a lot of benefits of the latest technologies? This is all about BIM. Later, getting into the actual topic, we all speak about every company today in the market boasts themselves that we do BIM. Well, for a client perspective, if I need to know what exactly is BIM, what's happening, it's very much important to know what is the maturity of an organization which is delivering BIM and what is the kind of maturity that project needs in terms of BIM. Today, all the projects delivered in the market are not always like level 3, level 2, level 1. I will tell you what are these levels. Level 0, if I say in a project life cycle perspective, if you're on a project perspective, there is no BIM in the project. It's all a traditional CAD or handmade or whatever data exchanges, all things happen with the design, contractor, and operation teams. Level 1 is where you have a design companies using the BIM for their modeling development and for visualization, for client review meetings, class detections, for some types of analysis, this kind of thing. And here you don't focus on any national or global standards. You only focus on having some local standards set within an organization, in your organization. And there is no proper collaboration happening here among the parties. Maybe some people are using BIM and some people don't use BIM within the design phase. Okay. And level 2 is where you are using BIM applications for design and construction activities, both till the handover. And you have at least some national standard where most of the companies in that country follow the same standards. Because if we don't have a standard approach, it becomes conflicting when you're working on a project. Project is not driven by one company. Project will have several parties coming together and driven by one client. So if different organizations follow different standards, it becomes a challenging. So you have some national standards here, and it becomes much better collaboration between the design and the contractor teams and subcontractors. And here is where you are able to use BIM also for site related activities like construction, logistics, procurement, fabrication, assembling, time, cost, planning, progress monitoring, safety, quality, all of these things comes in. Now, looking into the level 3, here is a phase where you have design, construction, and operation. All the organizations align with BIM, and you also ready with national standards alignment and also global standards requirement. Because when we are working on level 3, you are focusing also on global projects and having a multiple organizations which are BIM capable. Then only you are able to work. And another topic I left out here is level 1. There is no question of common data environment. Level 2, you have a common data environment for all these people to collaborate on a cloud base. Level 3 is somewhere you have the common data environment, starting from the planning to design to construction to handover to maintenance and complete life cycle. So that means with respect to technology, if I need to tell, level 1, it's like you have to install the softwares in your systems. Level 2, at least some softwares what you're using are cloud based. You just need to log in, like how you will log in for a Gmail or a Dropbox or Google Drive, whatever. So level 3 is something where completely all the software should be online. You don't need to download anything. It's all virtualized and cloud based. So that's the kind of way forward. Level 3, there are no much of projects in the global market because technologies vendors itself are now working to convert all their technologies to the cloud based. And not all the technologies in the life cycle are completely cloud based yet. It will take some time. Global standards on ISO 19650 is still aligning. There are some series of that has to be launched. And across the life cycle, I don't see even the contractor, design, facility, I mean, everyone are not capable yet in BIM. So most of the companies in India, if I say capable in delivering level 1, when they say I'm doing BIM, that means they're in level 1 project delivery. Level 2 is very exceptional. They have some iconic projects and then done both design and construction activities. But again, it depends on what level of maturity they're doing. So now, looking into the kind of initiatives, what's happening globally. This is one of the slides I've taken from Building Smart International, which is one of the open BIM vendor which will support for neutralization of the BIM developments in the global market. And there are roughly 40 to 50 countries which is having a kind of BIM related initiatives in terms of having a local communities. Like for India, we have India BIM Association. For Brazil, we have BIM Forum Brazil. Canada has a Canada BIM Council. Africa has BIM Africa. Turkey has BIM for Turkey. Thailand has Thai BIM Association. Serbia in Europe as a Serbia BIM Association, like that. Today I was discussing with Taiwan. It's a Taiwan BIM Association. So like that, they have a different local communities to have that kind of localization, digital transformation drive to happen. Like how we have in the Institute of Architects or Council of Architecture, Institute of Engineers. So there's a kind of body for BIM drive or a digital drive, kind of can say. So countries with BIM adoption, like when clients have already seen the benefits, because number one, you are bringing in the transparency, the data has been pretty clear, and you no need to predict things because you are developing a model and able to even quantify the things, plan the things properly, and do the simulations and things are on place. Nothing to visualize. So putting a CAD drawing in front of you, you should visualize how it would look like. But here you are putting a model in front of you and able to walk through, turn around, take the quantities, parameters. Everything is available in the model. So what's happening is BIM is nothing new in the market. Like if you see in Finland, the BIM mandate started in 2007. US, it's in a 2008 BIM obligatory for their government projects. And recently, some countries are making too much of noise, like European market, like UK and few other countries, saying that BIM mandates, BIM drive, and all these things. But it's nothing new. But if you can see this slide, you can see the countries having the kind of BIM push or drive and mandates starting from 2005 to 2021, 2022. For example, Peru, if you can see, 2022 BIM obligatory for government projects for the next year. Okay, and some countries like Brazil has mandated in 2021. So that's where you see BIM Forum Brazil was launched this year. And Germany, if you can see, 2017 to 2020 phase-wise introduction they have done. It's a strategic plan on the way forward. And Qatar 2017, Singapore, many people know that there is a kind of BIM mandate from 2016 onwards, 2015 onwards, but it's based on a different size of the project requirements. France 2017, UK 2016, Switzerland going strong on BIM adoptions. And also in India, if you look in, some of the clients are mandated. It may be central level or some state ministries and some of the private clients and some of the companies, the mega scale companies like even our company like L&T, Tata, Shapoorji, Adani, Afcons, or when it comes to design companies and PMCs like Acom, Atkins, Arup, Mott, and several other companies to name. There's a kind of BIM internal drive for transformation, whether the client is asking today or not. But down the line, in 1 or 2 years, the client mandates are going to come in, and we have to build the capabilities to deliver that, project requirements. And now, when the clients are shifting their maturity from no BIM to matured BIM or BIM to matured BIM, now the companies are transforming from current situations to BIM capable companies by upskilling within the companies. For an example, in my company L&T, we have roughly 900 plus projects mega scale, within which roughly 350 plus projects are driven with BIM already. And our leadership team has a focus to have at least 70 to 80% of these projects to be driven with BIM in coming 3 to 4 years. And down the line, our clients are also expectations are changing. Like high-speed train currently, which came in, which is with the BIM requirement. Most of the projects which are coming with healthcare these days are coming with BIM. And metros and airports and XYZ projects. And some of the projects like water treatments, power transmissions, geostructures, these kind of projects, there is no client mandate, but most of our projects internally is driven with BIM. So it's not because client is going to ask in coming years only. It's also because we are able to see the return on investment by bringing in BIM into the capability. And looking into the kind of return on investment, if you are looking in X percentage in the design phase, and 2x plus can be in the construction phase, 3 to 4x can be the operation phase benefits. I have come across one of the report from Power Water Coopers, which was 2016 onwards. They have taken 2 case studies. For the investment, what they have done, X percentage, 3% was the kind of return on investment from design, construction, and 10 years operation combined. And another project where they have half matured BIM implemented, they had 1.5% of return on investment, including 20 plus years of operations considered as an planned out thing. It's not 20 years operation is not done, but they are saved based on the amount that can be saved. They have given the calculations. So, well, it's not that we are just saying in words. It's already there are valid case studies and data available to say that this is the returns, and also the real case scenarios we are able to see the. So, well, what is BIM? BIM is not a model. BIM is not a technology. BIM is all about a project management and managing the data through the better project management, which is aligned with Industry 4.0. And technologies are also changing. Before, we used to use the technologies for 2D based. It may be for analysis or also for a design or whatever. And data used to be exchanged through different platforms, through emails, through voice commands, through the drawings, and through XYZ data. But now we want to make sure all these things happen through a 3D platforms, and You have all the things, including the analysis and everything on a 3D and with the clarity and workable, shareable to everyone and up to date. Today, what is happening on the status that should be updated on the model. So this will give a much better understanding for a client and also for a better cash flows and also better understanding, avoiding the kind of legal issues and disputes in the projects. So coming into the kind of education, till now I just gave you the trends on what's happening globally, because why should I go with BIM education first of all? If it doesn't make sense, it's not because Amar is saying or XYZ person is saying it doesn't require. It's about our understanding why is it really required, and then we go with it, right? Either through the university education or through the executive programs, whatever is available in the market. So looking into the global trends in BIM education, this is one of the research I've done in 2017. Well, this was my PhD days because I had a lot of time to do research. I had looked into several research and coordinated with several experts and faculties in some countries, like 30 to 40 countries. And through the research, I got to know that there are at least 30 plus countries having the BIM in their academic education curriculum. And the country's name you can already see in this slide. And it's not that BIM education is only limited for architecture separately, civil separately, management separately. It's not learning separately. When I say about a project, buildings or infra or cities, are we doing it separately? No. We're all working together, right? As a civil, I'm a civil engineer. But BIM, I'm more on a project management side. And you're an architect. So it's everyone has to come together on a board on the same journey to deliver a project. But why in education that multidisciplinary things are not happening? That is one of the key challenge. And that is where the change is happening in terms of the BIM education, what they are doing in these countries. Initially, when the BIM education started maybe 20 years ago in some of the countries, it was only like architects learn separately, civil learn separately, mechanical learn separately, and then the trend shifted towards multidisciplinary, like people understand on a project specific and they start working on a common team, forming a team. Then people realize it should be on a global side, because a project is not limited to one particular locality. So you have to have global team understandings, because if I'm working with a China, they use a Chinese software. I cannot understand the model and their parameters. If I'm working with Korean, or some other country, Spanish, so different people have a different software solutions and different data. But when it comes to a global project, a kind of standard approach and understanding and collaboration building is required. So then the global education came in, where multiple universities from different countries come together for a common program, and they learn together and understand their challenges and the benefits of coming together. And then this today what's happening is it's not education just delivered by academic experts in the universities, but it should be a combination of the policymakers, researchers, industry people, academia, and startups. And the combination of this will really help in better understanding of what is the real scenarios. And that was the kind of education which has started in the global market these days. And that's where even the program development has a real cases, and multiple organizations coming in, multiple experts coming and training. And today, if you see, there's also kind of new things called flipped classroom techniques. Like even professors get bored, right? How many times I need to teach the same every year? And syllabus, if you see, hardly changes. And it's many of the time our Indian syllabus are very much outdated in the global market. So it's also become frustrating to many professors to keep teaching the same thing. So flipped classroom technique is one of the new techniques which has been many people adopting. So I don't need to teach the same thing again and again. I have a video lectures recorded once and then keep playing it. And whenever there's a new things changes, they revise that. And during the classrooms, it's more of a game and activities, based on brainstorming sessions and things. This is a kind of education which has kickstarted. I think this already kind of situations in many of our, at least some of the universities in our country. And that will be the kind of way forward education. Now people can get a degree sitting anywhere and can learn from anywhere. So, and work from anywhere. It's no more required to be in a one locality. That's the kind of trend which is going to come in coming years. And also in terms of jobs, it's not required to be one of the employee for only one company. It will be more of a consultant, expertise kind of thing. And professors will not be one limited to one university. They will be working for multiple universities, and there'll be more of experts. With this kind of trends coming in, I think that we have to relook in the way we think and the way we work, in terms of education curriculum developments. And I'm giving the real facts, what's happening. And looking into the BIM, we all see here these kind of terms, and we see there are new things happening as per the latest trends. IoT, Internet of Things. What it is, you have something in your facility, you're connected it to internet, so the data is managed through there, and the device is managed. Prefab. So you are able to do the prefab by using a qualitative data. If you don't have a detailed information to fabricate, you cannot bring them and assemble. It will be very complicated. Laser scanning. So why are you doing it? You're collecting a point cloud. You want to do the as-is situations of the facilities, and also maybe for progress monitoring. Then you convert it into the model. Construction automation. How do you do that? You need the BIM models. You need to integrate, and then you can activate kind of simulations and progress monitoring and things. Drones, you are using it for surveys and progress monitoring, and data is captured for surveying and photogrammetry and XYZ thing. 3D printing, again, using the BIM model, linking with the CNC machines, and few other machines which are coming in. There's a kind of small facilities getting built with 3D printing, and also the scale models. So all of these are working only through the data. And if you have, and you are thinking about proper data management, BIM is a requirement. And whatever you hear a term called VDC, BIM, digital twin, IT in construction, all of them are same. People just use a fancy terms, and some people say I do beyond BIM. They say I don't do BIM, I do data management. I don't do BIM, I use this software. People just use a fancy things to say, but it's all about having data, connecting the people together, and having better benefits. So now, looking into the actual projects, so what happens? We are multiple parties from different capabilities and backgrounds, and coming from different organizations. Well, we are not working in the same organization. It's a temporary project where different organizations join hands and try to deliver successfully as client is expecting. So what happens here when you need a BIM education? You have to understand BIM education is not same for everyone. Is civil engineer learning the same, and architect learning the same, and mechanical learning the same in the actual situation? No. Then how BIM will become same for everyone? BIM is not just is just an upgradation from what they are currently, and to move to the digital era. So education also is not same for everyone, but everyone should be coming together for some level of education. So at both the levels, some may be basic learning as an individuals from a discipline perspective. Some is a collaborative learning where people come together, understand as a team perspective, and work together. That's more on a managerial line. A technical line, which may be on a software oriented. I get a software, I get a drawing, I develop a model, and I share it to the structural team or MEP team or interiors or a civil team and so on. Then when it comes to site, a design and a construction team interaction starts with the model. And then the planning engineers comes in, they use the time planning softwares and the cost planning softwares. The QA/QC people come in, and the safety engineers, safety experts come in. Different people have different solutions to use. So based on our job roles in the projects, or where are we looking ourselves in our upcoming projects or in the industry, so based on that, you have some set of softwares to learn. You have set of some standards and workflows to be developed. I mean, skills to be developed on the way forward and looking in. And if you're looking on a leadership roles, you have to understand more on a trends, helping companies on a roadmap developments, aligning the team and their efforts, and make sure the deliverables are working very much as required. So I just want to say you that BIM is not same for everyone, and everyone no need to know the BIM softwares, and BIM is not only a software again, and you don't need to worry too much, because BIM is not a scary thing. It's a very simple thing, but the only thing is it's a shift. How the handmade to CAD has come, CAD to BIM has come, then maybe something else will be coming in another 2 to 3 decades. So we have to align with the changes if we want to be sustaining in this current market. So looking into, for example, a contractor company, what kind of departments you will have in terms of construction phase? You have tendering and contracts, you have planning and QAs, you have design, you have safety and quality, procurement and supply chain, project execution, form work. I'm just giving you some set of items here. There may be a green building consultants, they have something different to learn. And you have a clients also need to be matured in BIM, because here today we are speaking about client asking for a BIM. If I get a BIM model as a client, and if I'm not able to make benefits of that, there is no meaning of investments in BIM. First of all, if I'm investing something, I should take the return on investment, because the highest benefits are in the maintenance phase. So these different departments has something different to learn in terms of BIM within a contractor company, I'm telling. So safety and quality people, they have a different software applications. Formwork, they will be able to develop the formwork components and then do the simulations and planning along that line. Procurement and supply chain can integrate the BIM solutions for the for the procurement for the site activities, and also the supply chain linkage, so that you don't need to bring several items on the site and dump it and then waste it, but on time basis there may be automated updates to the manufacturers and suppliers, so that the required materials can be procured as on time required. Project execution, when you have a bin model, you are able to use that, and on the site you have some mobile devices, you are updating that onto the model. So it's a handy devices which may be not much of uh, heavily loaded software is required. It's about data updates on from the site to the models and few other activities. Planning and QS, they have a planning softwares. Currently, people may be using like MSP, Primavera, but here you have something to link that same timeline. It's the same knowledge, but you are working that on a virtual model rather than working on an imagination of how the project would be. Tendering and contracts, it will be helping very much. Once you have a BIM model developed initially, you can extract the quantities from that, and you can bid for it through that accurate prices. So the client also have a clarity on what exactly the bidding is happening. And the design, with the design, you have a better detailed visual model and the client walkthroughs and AR/VR usage, several things. So different skills will be learned during this perspective. I will just show you the different categories of BIM applications. Since it's a short presentation, I won't be going deeper into each of the BIM uses. For me, if a client is asking, BIM is like a menu card. Like in a hotel, you have a menu card, right? South Indian, North Indian, Chinese, Spanish, or some other foods. And then you select what you want in that, right? The same way in the BIM, you have a menu card. The client has to select, I need BIM for modeling, I need BIM for walkthrough, I need BIM for time planning, I need BIM for safety, I need BIM for quality. The client has to set, these are the items I need through BIM to benefit in my project. And then based on that, the other parties will work together and develop that. So, well, what is the number of items that we can have in the menu card? It's roughly 50 plus items. If it's a matured client now in this current situation, the North American region and few other countries are already expecting 50 plus use cases in the life cycle. Now, in our country, do we have the capability to deliver all of these items? No. Probably in Indian maturity is roughly 15 to 20 of those use cases. So it's still less than half matured in terms of BIM delivery capability. So, and then within this industry, if you are just learning through the industry, it's a challenge because you're not able to help the industry to change. So in terms of education, it's not just getting the internships and learning what happening in the companies. It's more about even proposing what can be done. And also a startup focus will also help for the students, because today's generation students are not limited to jobs or startups. They're also looking for higher education. Three areas focus, right? So how do we help them to focus on these three areas will really help for the students to go forward. So I will just show you those items, like these 50 plus items, like modeling, planning, scheduling. They are scheduled among 8 categories. I'm just showing you the categories now. I won't go deeper into those items. Existing condition modeling. That means on the site, what is the existing situations? You may be having the underground utilities, and you may have the surrounding facilities. There may be existing facility where you have to join and work a new facility, or you may need to demolish and reconstruct a new facility, or you have to do rehabilitation. You have different sets of data that need to be captured from the site, right? So here you may be using drones, photogrammetry, laser scanning, site visits, and all these kind of things. Capture the data. Here you do existing condition data capture on the site, on the fly through, on the real site, underground, and inside the facility. All this data is captured with different use cases. We call it as existing condition, interior modeling, exterior modeling, infrastructure modeling, horizontal modeling. Different things are done. The next one is, you have collected the site data. Now what do you do? You have to plan your facility. You have to develop a model. It may be a conceptual BIM model for architecture, then a detailed architecture model, mechanical model, electrical model, plumbing and fire protection model, structural model, civil works, interiors. All of this comes under this category, design authoring. So now you have the BIM model with you of all the categories. You combine together, you have the class checks and things done. Now the next phase is like analysis and reporting. You have the BIM model, you have the existing site data, which is maybe GS data. Now you have to do different types of simulations, right? Just having a model, what is the use? In terms of aeronautical or mechanical or other industries, automobile industries, it's all first you build the virtual model, you do all the kind of testing, and then only you'll get into the manufacturing, right? The same way it has to be applicable for this industry. I know, but the projects are not same, they are different. I strongly agree that all projects may not be same. So it's very much important to have the models for each of the projects and then have the simulations done. So analysis, you may have something like clash detection, structural, wind, earthquake, lighting, coordinations, and other kind of activities done in this category. The next important thing is more on a sustainability and energy, where you speak about TERI, IGBC, GRIHA, LEED, or some other certifications and having a sustainable projects. So all this kind of simulations can be performed using BIM. You can do the environmental assessments, and you can do the green building analysis. You can do lighting and different kind of analysis through this category. The next is more of a site related activities where you are doing a time planning, cost planning, time cost progress monitoring, safety planning, quality monitoring, having a BIM room setup for better coordination meetings, and also for quality control, construction procurement plannings, and this kind of activities are done here. And documentation. Once you have done the construction, you should start extracting the you may need a documentation to be done through CAD way or whatever. So that kind of activities are done here. Then we are handing over the project to the client. You have to capture all the data, how it was planned, how it has been installed, any instructions for the maintenance. Everything will be captured as is from the site to the BIM model, and the BIM model will be much richer, so that it's a virtual replica of your physical asset. So whatever, I don't need to go to the site and see what is the current status, because initially in the design what happens is you only plan something, but happening is something different, but updates are not there in the traditional approach. But when a BIM approach, you have planned something, you have a BIM model, you are executed something, you have a BIM model, whatever the changes you have updated to the BIM model. So you just go get into the BIM model, you can click on the elements and you can see the parameters and information. So it becomes much easier for the client and the maintenance team to have a better operations. That's where the smartness comes. So what do you mean by smart cities or a smart buildings or a smart infrastructure? That means you have a digital data, you have all the data available in one space, and better and easy life. That's where this pitches in. So this becomes much easier for the facility maintenance team. That's where facility data integration comes in. You're integrating with your CMMS and FM systems for smart facility management, interlink with IoT elements, so that in the BIM model, you click on that device, which is an IoT device, you can see all the data history and all those things. That kind of BIM softwares are already available. And also for demolition and recycling activities, resiliency, and different use cases are there. So these are the 8 categories under which different BIM users are expected by the client and can be delivered by the team. And now we are saying about what client is expecting globally. And now we are saying what is the capability of maturity of our Indian clients. And now we are saying what is the capability of our service providers. It may be design, construction, or facility maintenance companies or XYZ. And now we need to pitch in what is that education required. We understand different connects between these things are missing. Global clients expectations, local client expectations, delivery service providers capabilities, and the students who are getting into the industry. There's a lot of disconnect among all of this, and one by one are less matured, in terms of reaching to the requirements. So how do we fix this kind of challenge today? Since we have the youngest population, and not everyone can be employed within the same country, and so people are pitching to different countries, and also not everyone can just get into employment. You can also focus on a startup. Some people who understand what industry is doing and they align and they get experience. Some people who are startup focused, they understand what are the current problems in the industry and try to help with the new solutions. And people going for higher educations, they also plan for further and things. So it's a different levels of education. BIM technology vendors, I just want to name some because previously when I was discussing with Tulika, she wanted to get some perspective on what kind of softwares or vendors. I'm just showing you the software vendor names here, not the softwares. Each vendor may have 5 to 10 to 20 softwares with respect to BIM. Now it becomes so messy and confusing for people to know, what is the way forward to go with BIM? Should I go with Autodesk, or should I go with Bentley or a Trimble or XYZ software vendor, RIB or a Tekla or Graphisoft? Bexel, Akka, which software should I go? Which software vendor should I go first of all? And then within that vendor, which software should I do? Being me an architect, me a mechanical. It's not just getting into one software and learning and saying that I'm BIM enabled and looking into the market saying that I'm not getting job now in the market. It's also important to understand what is demand in the market and what is the supply. Supply demand is what actually works everywhere. Technical capable, I mean, software capable people are plenty in the market now, in Indian market. That kind of skills are not required. What's happening is many universities, when the tech vendor reaches to them saying that I'm going to give you the free licenses and support in education, oh, they think that is BIM and I'm going to teach my students the softwares. And then my students will be very much capable. Once they graduate, they don't have jobs. This is the main challenge. I'm telling you, I'm part of the National BIM Society. Every day, one or two candidates call me. They're saying that, sir, I learned this software, I'm not getting job. I'm working part-time Zomato, Uber, Swiggy. It's very hard to, I mean, they're putting dedicated time and efforts for their education for 4 to 5 years, believing in a university and a degree. But this is the challenges they're facing, including me. I faced these challenges initially. So, well, it's very much important to align our curriculums, understanding what really required in current trends. I'm not saying BIM is the only requirement, but there are many things which is need to be aligned. This is some of the softwares I just want to show. Many people will know these names. Maybe Revit, which many people know. Many people think BIM is all about Revit. It's only one of the software from one vendor to do the model development. And there are some softwares which are free to use. There are some softwares which are open BIM. There are some softwares which are pretty expensive. The BIM softwares range from 2 to 3,000 rupees per month license to 10 to 15 lakhs per year license. And some softwares are only yearly licenses. Some softwares are monthly licenses, which are very much affordable, like 2 to 3,000 rupees. And some are freely available softwares. You just need to work on it, develop plugins and further development and so on. So BIM is not expensive. If you are thinking BIM is expensive, you have to rethink how it can be made cheaper. BIM is also applicable for SMEs. BIM is applicable for mega scale projects. BIM cost will be not more than 0.5% or so for a big scale projects, for the project cost. When it comes to the job category, which is very much important for our young generation. So technical capability means technical jobs, managerial jobs, strategic jobs. So there are three categories of jobs. Let me tell about the supply and demand. Technical jobs are the number of people are more than the demand. Supply is more than the demand, the people in the market. Managerial, supply is equal to almost demand. Okay. Strategic, supply is very, very less than the demand. No, I will tell you what are these three kind of job roles. Technical, as I said, there are 200 to 300 BIM softwares in the market. A person capable on any of these softwares. I'm an architect, I focus on some architectural tools. I'm a planning engineer, I will focus on planning tools on BIM. So these kind of people are technically capable people who once you give them a project data, they'll start developing the BIM models and measuring the models and do whatever the analysis and things you want to do. They're technically capable. So there are plenty of these people. There are no jobs in the market. Trust me, it's a very challenging situation on these lines. Managerial, what's happening is these are the people who understand the project more on a process perspective and understanding the deliverable perspective. There may be design manager, construction manager, facility manager, project manager. This kind of people who are not just limited to technical, who are more focused on deliverables, workflow, standardization, and these kind of areas. And strategic is more of a leadership drive. It's more about, because now the clients are mandating BIM, so every company has to transform where they have to deliver the services. It's about supporting these companies in digital transformation journey, so that setting their roadmaps, aligning the team efforts, planning out the initiatives on the drive, and what is the kind of investments, what is the ROIs, what is the kind of POCs, what is the kind of BIM implementation, how do we mature, setting up skill development plans, technology procurements, integrations, equipment. It's about linking the human efforts, humans, people, and their equipments, technologies, and data, looking at a bigger perspective, and how my competitors are moving, how the company is moving, and how do we align with the client requirements. This is more on that line. Now, to focus on the skill development and competency building, what do we do? This is the global market, this is a local market, this is the current situations, this is the current education. What do we do to build that skills and competencies for the students? Well, there is a need of focus on a different areas on BIM. One is people keep saying 3D, 4D, 5D, 60, 70 like this. It's about software learning, process oriented. It's about integrated project delivery, where people management, common data environment. It's about it's about data management, COBE, BIM users, level of detail. There are several topics in the process. Policies about the BIM standards. How do you standardize the BIM implementation? There's some quotes, local, global, and project specific implementations. How do I do BIM in airports, or buildings, or a healthcare, or a different types of projects? That's a different level of learning, because I may be expert, want to get into only airports. So why do I need to learn what's happening in other sector? So education can be very much focused for executives on those lines. Well, BIM is not a subject, as I was saying that earlier, I have introduced one BIM fundamentals course in my program and I'm done. My students are learning BIM. That's not BIM. BIM is something which has to be diffused in all the courses in existing curriculums on the digital transformation journey. How do we design? How do we think? How do we visualize? How do we plan? How do we estimate? How do we quantify? How do we analyze? How do we do safety quality? How do we progress monitor? Plenty of things. So they're all in our education curriculums, right? So we have to rethink the way we are doing that manually. So that is the education on BIM. It's not just bringing one software learning or bringing one fundamental course, not that kind of education. So skill development plan should be done for universities in a very well manner. So which is a strategic plan again. So like, if you can see, this is one of the research which I performed in 2017 something during my research time. So it's a phase-wise approach for a bringing BIM into the tertiary education system. Phase one is like a BIM learning spectrum, like what are all the things people need to actually learn in this university. Phase two is like, what are the core courses where BIM should be part and parcel of that programs. Phase three is like, which are the departments where BIM education should be delivered and how they come together as a multidisciplinary. Phase four, what are the course levels? Should it be for first year, second year, third year, for UG, PG, that kind of thing. BIM tertiary education levels, it's again for higher educations or postgrad or UG. How do you pitch in? BIM teaching by globally active policy field players, like it's not just bringing in one or two people. It should not be boring for students to learn things, right? So it should be like a combination of experts from local, global, academia, industry, research, policy. Combination will really help them to get the realistic approach. Phase 7, BIM education by globally active BIM field players who are active. These days, things have become virtual. I'm sitting here in Chennai and able to reach to many audience here. And in a day, I can reach to many platforms and I'm able to reach to many countries. It's a different area altogether, and people have started accepting, at least in our country now, that even education can be online. So before you used to say, no, 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 you have to come down here, deliver a lecture. That's the way we do. But things have changed. And in terms of BIM phase 8, it's about, if we want to get the professionals BIM capable or industry 4.0 aligned professionals, it's important to understand these things and bring that into the curriculum, which will really help us to look into the real way forward, so that our candidates get placed in the university and the companies, or even they have their own startups or higher educations. These are the three key focus for the any student, right? So, well, we do have a national society, as I said, like other 50 countries have their own forums. India has its own national BIM society called India BIM Association. We have started this journey in 2016 May, and now we have roughly 40,000 to 45,000 people reach globally from 60 plus countries. And this is a kind of BIM drive which is happening globally, and we are getting connected and making MOUs with different forums and other countries, and understand what's happening globally, and try to support the India for digital transformation journey. The kind of activities we do here is, one is policy developments for the BIM standardization. The next is participating in events and also organizing events. And third is focusing on education certifications, and fourth is connecting the people and connecting the dots, because at the end the market, what it needs is, they're everything available in the market, but they're not connected. The major challenge before, if you see, I mean, even 8 9 years back, when I was my family, my parents used to tell, go bring the groceries, go bring something else, vegetables and things. Now things have come on one application. You just need to open one app like BB Daily to book the vegetables, use the Flipkart for grocery and other things. So everything is coming on one platform. The same way, the BIM and the services and the project data should come in one place, so things become handy for people. And that has already started. Everything is in one hand for people to work, and you can start educating yourself through the Coursera, EDX and kind of platform on the mobile device, and where you can start working through using Teams or Zoom or other platforms through your gadgets. So things have changed, and we have to rethink in our AEC sector also to get it aligned so that we make our life simple. So the overall agenda for having this forum is to build an ecosystem in Indian eco sector, to connect the tech vendors, policymakers, academia, industry, all these things, so that a digital transformation can happen in a standardized approach. And we do a lot of awareness sessions. So these, some of the slides, what you can see is only pre-COVID sessions where we had delivery sessions. But frankly speaking, the number of sessions, and every day we're getting 1 or 2 sessions, and we are reaching to more people, and awareness is spreading much faster than the previous situations, and multiple sessions are happening. And what is this India BIM Association? We have a digital transformation drive in Indian AC sector already with several ministries like Housing and Urban Affairs. Day before yesterday, I had a sessions with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs on the real estate sector, military engineering services. Next week, I have one session with the MES team. For CPWD, there was a strategy workshops on BIM. Airport Authority mandates are there, Niti Aayog mandates are there. Builders Association Kadai, we had events, and they're looking for their SME projects with BIM. IGBC, the V Suresh is our the chairman. He's also one of the board members of our BIM association. So he is very much keen on bringing BIM and green. Yesterday, he had delivered one session bringing green BIM in one of the NIT Calicut session. So Association of Civil Engineers, CII. Yesterday there was one event with CII, and there's one event on 29th on smart cities with CII, which we are coordinating. Several universities, we do several awareness. A lot of drive is happening day in out these days, and I think down the line we'll have a lot of transformation and support which may be expected. And thank you for giving me this opportunity, especially for the Council of Architecture, TRC, and the Goenka University, and also for the audience who had joined for the session today. And here is my WhatsApp number. You have any queries or you want to discuss with me, or open, but just ping me on WhatsApp once, because I may be stuck with something. So I will be obviously trying to help you out by texting or calling you back on those things. But now we have a time, I think, for some Q&A. Tulika, do we have?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll move on to that only. And I really thank you, sir, for this wonderful and very informative session that you've delivered. And I believe that this session has immensely benefited all our participants by showcasing the initiatives, possibilities, adopted efforts, and global trends that you had discussed in the advanced modeling, which can completely change the way how architects approach building design. And I believe access to such extremely powerful tools in academia will enable us to create dynamic, streamlined structures that stand the test of time. So yes, sir, we can move forward to the question and answer round. We had some questions in the chat box, which I would read out, and probably you can answer them. So it was from Nikunj Divedi. He had asked that as we are rapidly, it was I have shortened it up, Nikunj. So as we are rapidly evolving, is there any gap between how an individual at a college level uses a BIM tool for his own educational purpose, and how a professional might use it for the task in hand?
Yeah, the only difference is you will face the challenges because there is a lot of challenges on the actual projects, and you are doing it taking a case study as an example. So you may not see the challenges. That is what people call as an experience. Because when you go on a real project, you see a lot of challenges and you're trying to face and trying to overcome that. That is an experience that is getting added. That's the only difference. But even on the side, professionals do. They are not all the people are not fully matured in them, so that's the only difference I think as an experience people can add on.
Okay. I hope, Nikunj, that answers your question. And then we had another question from Devang Parekh, who had asked, where do we stand in BIM education when we talk about India?
We stand nowhere, frankly speaking. So
And
where can we stand? We need to rethink. Currently, we stand nowhere because looking into the tier one universities, to name some of them, IIT Delhi, they have just one fundamental course. IIT Madras, maybe one or two, one fundamental and one collaborative course they have. Council of, I mean, SPA Delhi doesn't have anything. COA doesn't have anything. Architecture schools, and they have some decent programs available currently on architecture side, and many NITs have started just setting up technology centers driven by a Bentley or Autodesk or some other vendor having some software installed. Or some people that okay, we deliver BIM, they bring in 2 3 experts and take one session and they say we are done a BIM education. So NICMAR, for construction management related, they have some fundamental courses, but there is no qualitative BIM, or I don't want to say it as a BIM, at least aligning for the current trends where BIM is part of it, and BIM is not a software. Start thinking BIM by keeping software aside, then you will really understand what I'm speaking. If you get stuck with one software, getting into only deeper on that, how do I develop the model from a drawing? You won't understand what I'm speaking.
so yeah, Devang Parekh, as you have been messaging, your question seems to be very insightful and would help all the participants in the call. I request you to kindly unmute and show us your face and ask the questions. That would make it more interactive.
Yeah, it's like I'm speaking to the screen and I can only see it's fully.
Yeah,
It's,
Devang Parekh. Okay.
Or maybe
Yeah, I can.
unmute.
I mean, my
Yeah, sure. Go
video
ahead.
is not on. Please, can somebody help?
Yeah. 1 second, 1 second. Yeah.
Hello, Amarnath. This is Architect Kanaka.
hi,
Mm,
Kanaka.
Hi. I've been following. I know you. We are LinkedIn connected. Even I'm closely following BIM developments, international and in India. It is taking a lot of time. So, with all the years of experience, once you started this association and all, what is the initiation? How long it may take, and how you are trying to convince the investors in this software? Because a lot of advantage is there, but initial investment is the glitch. So,
You don't need to
clients or
invest. Your
uh,
investment, your
yeah,
investment
initial
will
investment in
be.
the softwares or training the people. The licenses of the softwares are really expensive comparatively. That is one of the mindset most of the clients have. So how you are trying to convince and what are the facts where we can present them? These are the easy methods to convince.
Yeah. See, if you have a mind blockade saying that BIM is only Autodesk or a Bentley or some other vendor, then you will feel it expensive. There are many other vendors who are having a very cheaper solutions. For example, Bexel, and another one is Acker. These are some of the vendors you have a pricing in thousands. No, 2 to 3 thousand, I can get 1 month license to work, and which is very much workable for SME. And I have all the lifecycle related solutions. For example, Acker and Bexel is very powerful for a 3D, 4D, 5D kind of things. So it's not expensive though. It's really a perception or the way it has been driven in the market. I can say BIM is so cheaper if you really invested on it. And I think even SMEs, I don't feel spending 20,000-30,000 for one project for the software licenses. You just need it for how many months, what you need, only you keep it for that. But what happens with many tech vendors is you have to purchase only 1 year license fully. So you may be using hardly for 2-3 months. So you are paying for the rest of the months where you don't have the usage of the particular software. When it's a monthly subscription, you start when you want, you close it when you want. So initially I want it for design, I take it for 2-3 months for a design. Next I want for planning, I take it for planning for 2-3 months. As a overall for the life cycle, for till the handover, I may need some 1 to 2 years. So you're shifting the license from one software to another software, and you don't need to pay for every software. So you're fixing the whole deal for 40,000-50,000 rupees for a project. So where is software expensive? I don't know. And skill development, there is no need to go for any training for a software learning. For example, if I say Akka software, you go to the website, they have each software learning freely available, tutorials, everything. So there are many solutions like that, including Autodesk and other vendors. They have their learning available if it's on a technology learning. But if you really want to understand BIM as oral perspective for a business or a managerial or a leadership lines, it's a totally different learning, which is more of executive trainings and so on. So it's the main thing is strategic approach. How do we take this further in a project or a company, or how does client realize the benefits ROIs? So if we can strategically set this out, then BIM becomes much simple and much economic.
Yeah, what do you think about how long our country may go there to that level of taking a BIM model for municipal approvals? Is there any suggestion?
So it's about clients. So change management is the painstaking job anywhere. Change management within ourselves, change management within our team, within our organization or our partner organizations. So if we cannot change ourselves, what are we thinking about other organizations? First, let us change. Let us support our team's change, and let us drive that further, saying that we have a team to drive that. So I think clients are already realizing, because for clients it's not difficult to expect. For service providers, it's difficult to deliver. So client today, he can bring in any PMC guy and say that I need this in my EAR or RFP. Tomorrow, are we ready to deliver it is the key challenge. So can we build that capabilities to deliver it? And already many clients have started asking for BIM. Even for CPWD, there was a BIM strategy workshop set up. And some of the state governments from Kerala, for example, they have set up for the requirements. So there's already for some BDA, Building Development Authority, Bangalore Development Authority, few authorities like this have started asking for few projects in them. So things have started changing already, and in no time we'll have the kind of mandates from several clients. Then are we ready to do all those things? Today we have a very capable team in India for a design capabilities. But do we have a team to use that field BIM activities and hand over and do the facility maintenance? We don't have. So we have to build that capabilities before client comes in to say that you deliver me this.
Yes, absolutely. One more point. This planning of smart cities all over India, BIM is a must. It will really help in coordinating and getting a lot of data. But how far government bodies are working or towards this? What is your identification on that?
Yeah. So see, there are some events where several government agencies come together. One of them, for example, 29, there is a smart cities event by CII. Okay. So the organizers, India BIM Association is one of the association partners. I was discussing with them. You're speaking about smart. Where is the smart related discussions in this with the speakers? Smart is not something like you speak and words are there. You have to have the cities digital data in place, like how other countries are doing digital twin of the cities, and you should be able to use that for construction, the overall management of the city level, including the security cameras and everything. It's about smart word communications. So I think people are not really understood the smart cities yet to that level, and it's working in very much in bits and pieces. It's there should be a connect which has to be set up. So I think we are working on those lines to make that alignments, people to realize currently not much of the smart cities are expected with BIM. Even though there's a BIM, they don't tell it as a BIM, they say it as a data. So it's a different way of expecting things.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanaka sir. So as we are running out of time, I want Mr. Devang Parekh, if you could take up your questions quickly.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amarnath. I'm a principal at School of Architecture from Rajkot. My questions are more from the academical point of view. One is that, yes, it is about the mindset that we really need to change, because that is where, unless until we start changing your mind, this idea of digital literacy is going to be very difficult. I would have loved to see a modeling thing that from your side, how generally this whole process, because you showed us the steps, but if you could have illustrated some of the ways in which how it could have been quite insightful. That would have been one. Second is, if India is not, I mean, if the institutions of a higher education are not taking up this as kind of thing, what kind of models that we can see internationally, so that, that we can at least try to follow or try to learn from there. If you can tell us more about your experience or which kind of models that we should see. And the third is, how can your society or organization help us bringing this literacy at an institution? There are three questions.
Okay, and the first question you asked me to share the model and show. First of all, I
But
don't
it
get
could have
into
been nice if you could have demonstrated that way. But if there is a time shortage, I don't think so. But it could have been good that if we could have seen the actual thing, how things are taking place at different levels. Because you are talking about very
yeah
advanced
that kind of.
yeah. What we are
So
thinking is
BIM
that
model
almost in
showcasing.
bits and parts.
Mhm. So, well, related to BIM model showcase, maybe I will rethink for the next sessions. And I'm not a person handy on a BIM model software. First of all, I'm a BIM related strategic person who strategizes the things for the companies for the way forward. But I don't get into deeper into a software and it's not one software we are speaking. When we want to think of the life cycle perspective, you have to bring in multiple BIM solutions and show you how planning is done, how estimation is done. So that needs a little bit time, long time session. So where it can take a deeper understanding on how class detections are done, how quantification is done, how the analysis is performed. So for that, it should be a little bit 3-4 hour session where you understand in a project management perspective. The second question, I mean, there were three questions, so I a little bit confused. Second question is like, what is the global market trends? Is it?
No, it was regarding the basically some education model that once one can look at. If you are talking about that internationally things are happening at globally, some good institutions might be doing in terms of imparting education. They might have included this as an idea of bringing the digital literacy. They included BEAM kind of thing. What kind of models or what model we should look at?
Yeah, well, you just can type the university name, go to the departments, they will have the curriculums to download. It's not like in our country, we don't put the curriculums.
Not in our country, I'm saying internationally.
Many universities do upload their curriculum. So it's just need to browse through some universities and look into
Are you aware about it?
Yeah, I have browsed to several universities, and that's where my research came out in 2016-17. What's happening, and then I interact with the professors and understand what are their current way of teaching and what methods they are adopting. So that was the kind of topic I discussed, based on my experience in discussions and looking into the curriculums.
Are you suggesting anything more, any one or two, at least for us to see kind of thing?
So if you're looking for architecture related, probably University College London is one. And then if you're looking for engineering perspectives, you do have good programs in Stanford and even our National Taiwan University, where I was there before. We have a course already on the Coursera, which is free for anyone to log in and get the certification. This is all a free, I mean, there's very fundamental courses. There may be some executive programs like management degrees for 1 or 2 years. There are some universities in UK, they have 1-year degrees. Some do have a 2 years degrees on BIM, which is a management level. Some do have a senior level executive programs, which are professional based. So which is more on a leadership line, strategic alignments. So there are many of them, maybe you connect with me, I will guide you on.
How does your organization, for example, you did a lot of research that they can help academic institutions?
How India BIM Association would help academic? Yeah. So we have different types of membership. One is student, Next is professional memberships. Another one is corporate for companies, and for universities we have institutional memberships. So once the institute becomes our member, we will be able to be on their support them on advisory level, give them some fundamental courses to be bring in. We will be able to give you some experts for different planning of the sessions. Even because the main challenge is not a curriculum, the main challenge is a faculty development programs. So faculties need to be trained to train. That's a key thing. Or you may need some experts from outside to give the trainings. So that kind of support, by finding the right people for you, supporting on those advisory level, we can do. And we will be part of the FDPs. For example, even today, the final day of FDP of IIT Palakkad is happening. So it's with India BIM Association and IIT Palakkad direct work for ACTE. Submit proposal and we do it. So like that we do with several universities. And as an independent person, if you ask me, I'm part of a board of studies of some universities like Vellore Institute of Technology, SRM, Symbiosis, Kolhapur, and some universities do call me for FDP planning coordination. So this kind of thing I individually also support.
So yeah, that was a truly interactive and a very inspiring session, sir. And I really thank you for sparing out your time and like contributing to this prestigious workshop. Thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Tulika, and for the organizers and the audience for bringing me on board today and to interact with several senior architects. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting, and the questions were interesting. I think I have answered to some level, but if you still like to connect, here is my number. Feel free to connect with me. Thank you.
Yeah. And so moving on, so tomorrow we'll be continuing with the second part of the workshop, and we'll be having two more speakers tomorrow. Now I hand over the stage to Bandana ma'am for concluding the session and delivering the vote of thanks. And also one thing, there are many questions which are remaining in the chat box. I apologize to all the participants. I request you to please WhatsApp Amarnath sir, or I can give you the email ID and you can get in touch with him. Yeah, over to you, Vandana ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tulika. And thank you, Colonel Malik, for that food for thought. I have taken a picture and I'm going to work on that for sure. So, who says stars shine only at night? We had two bright stars shining here with us in the broad daylight today. Communication, knowledge, and skill sets as 3 pointers, studios as laboratories where students and teachers perform experiments. BIM is not only a software, it is how you manage the data. It brings the data and people together. There have been so many good pedagogical guidances related to construction that were received through this workshop today. We are grateful to our speakers, Architect T.S. Ravichandran and Dr. Amarnath, who took out time for us and graced this event with their in-depth knowledge on this platform. We are extremely thankful to our participants who joined from different parts of the nation, who showed interest, listened patiently, and became a part of this national workshop. So looking forward to meeting you all again tomorrow. We will be signing off now. Thank you all.